February 23, 2024, News Report 1. Voice of America reported that on February 22, Taiwan's representative to the U.S., Yu Delay, and the executive director of the American Institute in Taiwan, Lan Ning, signed a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) on Taiwan-U.S. international development cooperation. This MOU emphasizes the collaboration between Taiwan and the U.S. in the private sector for international development. Taiwan's Development Foundation and the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation will jointly explore cooperation opportunities in various areas, including health, caregiving, women's rights, parenting, information and communication, agriculture, climate, energy, small and medium-sized enterprises, and infrastructure. This MOU is significant and aligns with the Taiwan-U.S. Development and Humanitarian Assistance MOU signed in November last year. The goal of this MOU is to promote collaboration between Taiwan and the U.S. in international development and humanitarian aid. On another note, the Chinese Communist Party's CCP Taiwan Work Conference took place on February 22 and 23 in Beijing. Chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, Wang Huning, stated that there has been positive progress in the past year regarding Taiwan affairs. However, challenges in Taiwan work are apparent, such as the re-election of the Democratic Progressive Party in the Taiwan elections and a gradual weakening of Taiwanese identification with China. Survey data shows that only 2% of people consider themselves Chinese, while 61.7% emphasize the importance of Taiwanese identity. A December survey by the Taiwan Election Research Center indicated that most Taiwanese people prefer maintaining the status quo, with differing opinions on reunification or independence. News Report 2. Xinhua News Agency reported that on February 23, the State Council announced the appointment of Assistant Foreign Minister Nong Rong as the Deputy Director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, replacing the former Yang Wanmin. Yang Wanmin has been reassigned as the Assistant Foreign Minister. Nong Rong, aged 56 and a native of Guangxi, along with the Director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, Xia Baolong, conducted an inspection and research visit to Hong Kong on February 22. Nong Rong served as the mayor of Guogang City, Guangxi, in 2015, and has been the Deputy Minister of the United Front Work Department of Guangxi for the past 19 years. He joined the diplomatic system in 2020 and served as the Chinese ambassador to Pakistan and Assistant Foreign Minister. As per tradition, the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office usually has a deputy director from the diplomatic system. Currently, the director is Xia Baolong, and other deputy directors include Zhou Ji, Zheng Yanxiong, Zheng Xinsong, Wang Lingue, and Nong Rong. It's noteworthy that Zheng Yanxiong concurrently serves as the director of the Liaison Office of the Central People's Government in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. In March of the previous year, the CCP established the Central Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Commission based on the State Council's Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, serving as a central agency directly involved in the decision-making and management of Hong Kong and Macau affairs. This establishment is considered a direct intervention by the CCP in Hong Kong and Macau affairs. News Report 3. Reuters reported that on February 22, the Commissioner of Police in Kiribati, Araceli, stated that Chinese police are currently engaging in law enforcement cooperation in Kiribati. The cooperation includes police martial arts training in communities and assistance in establishing a crime database. Araceli pointed out that since 2023, over a dozen Chinese police officers have been assisting local police in Kiribati, with rotations every 6 months. Kiribati, located at the center of the Pacific, is a convergence point of the International Date Line and the Equator, with a land area of only 811 square kilometers and a population of about 115,000. After severing ties with Taiwan and establishing diplomatic relations with China in 2019, Kiribati has become one of China's locations for satellite reception stations and commercial satellite launches in the Pacific region. Due to Kiribate's proximity to the U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet Base in Hawaii, the United States expresses concern about China expanding its influence in the region. Australia is also worried about China's increased influence in the Pacific and has taken measures to maintain its position in the area. China, through various collaborations with Pacific Island nations, seeks to expand its influence in the region, while Australia and the United States take measures to counteract this trend. It's worth noting that on December 8, 2023, China held a dialogue meeting with Pacific Island nations on law enforcement capabilities and police cooperation. During this meeting, the China-Pacific Island countries' law enforcement training center was inaugurated in Beijing. This training center is located in Fujian Province. Comments mentioned that China's expansion in the Pacific region is part of the Xi Jinping government's pursuit of great power status. News Report 4. Bloomberg reported that on February 23, credit rating agency Moody's canceled ratings for 11 Chinese companies, including 9 real estate developers such as Longfor Group, Rongxin China, and China Merchants Construction, as well as Jiangsu's Zhongnan Construction and Changjiang Asset Management. Moody's decision implies that these companies will not be able to issue bonds for financing in the international market. The report indicates that Moody's rushed to announce the rating cancellations, highlighting the impact of defaults by Chinese real estate companies. Among them, Jiangsu Zhongnan Construction had its rating downgraded by Moody's in May 2022, reflecting the adverse effects of real estate companies defaulting on project payments on its financial condition. Asset management companies like Changjiang Asset Management are also affected by non-performing loans in the banking real estate sector, facing rating downgrades. Prior to this, in December 2023, Moody's changed China's sovereign credit rating outlook to negative, and on January 19, it downgraded the ratings of 4 major asset management companies, including Huarong, Cinda, and Xinda. These moves indicate the pressures faced by China's banking industry, particularly with the continuous downturn in the real estate sector. The report also mentions that some large state-owned asset management companies may be taken over by China Securities. News Report 5. According to Bloomberg's report, China and the United States are discussing how to alleviate the annual debt burden of over $400 billion on poor countries to prevent sovereign defaults in emerging market nations. Proposed solutions include extending the repayment period for emerging countries and increasing financing from multilateral banks such as the World Bank. The focus is on taking measures before defaults occur, easing tensions between emerging countries and creditors through debt restructuring negotiations. The report notes that discussions between China and the U.S. are still in the preliminary stages and have not yielded specific results. Both sides hope to present relevant proposals at the G20 summit in November, but any proposed solution would require support from international institutions such as the G20, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. The U.S. Treasury Department stated that the U.S. and China frequently engage in discussions on sovereign debt issues. Simultaneously, they also engage with other countries on ensuring that the international financial architecture meets the financing needs of low-income countries. The U.S. expresses concerns about China's behavior in international debt and suggests taking more significant measures, including debt relief and interest rate reductions. This reflects China's significant lending activities to multiple countries through the Belt and Road Initiative. News Report 6. Yonhap News Agency reports that on February 23, the South Korean and U.S. Air Forces conducted a joint exercise on the Korean Peninsula. Both countries deployed their latest fifth-generation stealth fighter, the F-35A, for the exercise. The South Korean Air Force stated that F-35s from both the U.S. and South Korea formed a group and successfully completed interception, shooting down of simulated enemy aircraft, and defense against Sung-Fong missiles. The exercise took place on the Korean Peninsula and aimed to showcase the military coordination and capabilities between the two nations. Additionally, South Korea and the U.S. are planning an 8-week joint military exercise starting on March 2. The exercise consists of two parts. The first part, named Critical Cut, involves computer-simulated command exercises and will continue until March 13th. The second part, named Rumor, involves actual troop and field training and will continue until April 24th. Against this backdrop, the tense situation on the Korean peninsula has drawn attention. However, Xinhua news agency reported that special representatives from China and the U.S. had a phone conversation on February 22 regarding the situation on the Korean peninsula. Both sides agreed to continue maintaining contact on the peninsula issue. This conversation marks a renewed contact since October 30 of the previous year, reflecting concerns about the situation on the peninsula. During this period, there have been a series of tense events, including missile launches and artillery firings. News Report 7. According to Channel 12 of Israeli television, the Israeli Cabinet for Security Affairs convened a meeting on February 22 and decided to send representatives to the interim ceasefire agreement negotiations scheduled for February 24 in Paris. The head of the Israeli intelligence agency, Balmaya, will lead the delegation, with the negotiations chaired by Qatari Prime Minister Mohammed and CIA Director Burns. Israeli Defense Minister Gantz stated that Israel will empower its negotiating representatives. However, the Israeli Prime Minister's office stated on February 14 that progress in negotiations can only be achieved if Hamas makes concessions. From the current perspective, it seems that Hamas has made some concessions, thus facilitating the progress of the negotiations. Moreover, the International Court of Justice held a 6-day hearing on the issue of Palestinian occupation on February 19, with representatives from over 50 countries participating. Ma Xingming, legal advisor and director of the Law Department of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, stated during the hearing that the armed resistance of Palestinians against Israel is not terrorism but a legitimate armed struggle. He claimed that Israel's occupation of Palestinian land has lasted for 57 years, and justice has not been served. Regarding these events, some media mention China's stance. The statement from China's legal advisor at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was interpreted as a formal announcement of China's support for Hamas. However, it is considered one of the rare cases where China openly supports Hamas. An expert pointed out that China usually expresses verbal support for Palestinians but does not invest much in practical actions. As for the International Court of Justice hearing, Israel stated it would not participate, as they believe participation would be detrimental to a fair judgment by the court. News Report 8. According to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics on February 23, second-hand housing prices in China showed a declining trend in January. In first-tier cities, the second-hand housing prices compared to the same period last year dropped by 3.7% in Beijing, 4.5% in Shanghai, 6.1% in Guangzhou, and 5.2% in Shenzhen. In second-tier and third-tier cities, second-hand housing prices fell by 4.4%. As for new houses, the overall prices in first-tier cities dropped by 0.5%, with Beijing rising by 1.3%, Shanghai by 4.2%, and Guangzhou dropping by 3.6%. The data indicates varying performances in new house prices among first-tier cities, with Beijing and Shanghai seeing increases while Guangzhou experiences a decline. According to Reuters' estimation, housing prices in 70 major cities in China dropped by 0.7% year-on-year in January, marking the largest decline in the past 10 months. Month-on-month, there was a 0.3% decrease, marking the seventh consecutive monthly decline and the largest one. These data reflect the current instability and downward pressure on China's real estate market, possibly influenced by factors such as government control policies and market supply-demand dynamics. News Report 9. The Beijing News reported that a traffic accident occurred on the elevated road in the Suzhou Industrial Park on the morning of February 23 due to road icing, resulting in a rear-end collision involving more than 100 vehicles and 9 injuries. In the accident, vehicles on the elevated road collided with each other, with some even being bumped onto the roofs of other vehicles. Videos showed that the police officers handling the accident were also knocked down. In addition, there is a video showing a girl being knocked down on the road. Car owners stated that the elevated road was icy, unlike usual, extremely slippery, and they dared not brake when driving. The report mentioned criticism of the government, accusing it of not taking any measures before rainy and snowy weather, such as salting or using snowmelting agents. The author stated that this is the current situation of China's transportation, relying on nature, and criticized the government for not taking necessary measures in advance. Meanwhile, the report also mentioned the impact of rainy and snowy weather in the Shanghai-Hangzhou area on February 22, affecting subway and railway transportation. The Shanghai subway stopped operation due to ice on the power grid, and the intercity railway connecting Shanghai to Haining also stopped. The report concluded by mentioning the yellow warning of low-temperature freezing issued by the China Meteorological Administration, warning of heavy snow or freezing rain in areas such as Shaanxi, Hubei, Hunan, Guizhou, and urging everyone to pay attention to safety. News Report 10. The Hong Kong Court of Final Appeal will deliver its final judgment on a pro-democracy rally held in August 2019 on February 29. The Court of Final Appeal ruled in favor of 7 pro-democracy figures, including Jimmy Lai, the chairman of Next Digital, and Lee Chuk-yen, the founding chairman of the Democratic Party. The charges of collectively organizing an assembly and criminal offenses against them were dismissed. However, regarding the charge of participating in the unauthorized assembly against these 7 defendants, the Court of Final Appeal stated that further analysis of legal issues is needed. As a result, the ruling has been postponed, and a final decision has not been made yet. News Report 11. The lunar lander developed by the U.S. private company Intuition Machines, named Odyssey, successfully landed on the Moon on February 22. This marks the successful arrival of a U.S. spacecraft on the lunar surface after 50 years. The last U.S. mission to land on the Moon was the Apollo 17 mission conducted by NASA in 1972. Odyssey, launched by SpaceX on January 15 this year, landed successfully in Area A of the Malapert crater, located 300 kilometers from the lunar South Pole, on February 22. Artemis, the CEO of Intuition Machines, stated that Odyssey will begin sending signals to Earth after landing. NASA mentioned that Odyssey carries various scientific instruments and commercial payloads, preparing for human exploration of the Moon. Intuition Machines is the contractor for NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services program, aimed at delivering scientific experiment equipment and cargo to the lunar surface, laying the foundation for future Artemis lunar missions. News Report 12. Forbes released the list of the top 50 billionaires in Hong Kong on February 22. The data shows that the total wealth of the top 50 billionaires is $296 billion, a 9% decrease from the previous year. Among these 50 billionaires, 30 experienced a decline in wealth, a phenomenon attributed to the 28% drop in the Hang Seng Index over the past year, declining 60% since reaching its historical peak in April 2019. Li Ka-shing still tops the list, but the stock price of his real estate development company, CK Hutchison Holdings, dropped by 1/3, leading to a decrease in his wealth to $36.2 billion. Over the past year, the company has consistently reduced residential project prices to stimulate demand. Real estate tycoon Li Shaoqi remains in the second position, but his wealth also decreased to $27 billion. Despite the better performance of his utility and hotel businesses under Henderson Land Development in a sluggish market, his stock dropped by 30%. In the third position is real estate and jewelry tycoon Chen Karshan. Due to slowing demand in the mainland, his wealth, jointly owned with his family, decreased by nearly $7 billion to $22.1 billion, marking the largest decline in net worth this year. The same reason has also dealt a blow to furniture and bedding manufacturer Mint Group, where founder Wang Manli's wealth shrank by over one-third to $2 billion, the largest percentage decrease this year. However, the list also features 12 billionaires who successfully overcame challenges and achieved wealth growth. Among them, shipping magnate Su Huiwen's wealth increased by $750 million, reaching $6.25 billion, thanks to a newer fleet that boosted the stock price of his Oslo-listed tanker company Hafnia. Three newcomers on the list include the co-founder and operator of Wharf Holdings, Zhou Kai-shian, supported by Li Ka-shing and known for early investments in Facebook, now Meta, and Zoom. Zhou Xingfu, founder of Lalamove, made his debut due to his logistics and courier company's IPO application on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. The Keswick family, behind Jardine Matheson, joined the list for the first time after a complex restructuring of cross-holdings within the group. The only returnee this year is Cho Kai-feng, an early investor in Michael Kors, with a family wealth of $2.6 billion. However, casino tycoon Lawrence Ho fell off the list due to the impact of Melco International Development Limited's sell-off in a sluggish market. Computer scientist, AI billionaire, and co-founder of SenseTime, Tang Xiaoyu, passed away in December last year at the age of 55.